Hi, I'm Phil Dispenza. This is Collecting, Investing, or Somewhere in Between. This is episode 1 of the Silver Age. And like I mentioned in the intro, I'm going to break this down into different parts. Because genre and the Silver Age was so big, and where the Silver Age, and I didn't mention this in the intro, the Silver Age is where everybody started saving their books, intentionally saving their books. So there's a lot of Silver Age out there, and there's a lot to collect. And certain genre have a decent amount of material that I should discuss. And again, I'm not just going to give you your top 5 things to buy and make this like a 2-minute video or something. I find that nonsense, because there's so much out there that, like I said, maybe you're not familiar with it, and I point something out and you're like, hey, maybe I want to collect that, or maybe I want to buy that for investment. So I'm starting with horror. I'm calling horror supernatural. I'm not going to throw in really mystery, but stuff that unexplained, things like that. I'm not going to put in science fiction in this section. Thinking about science fiction because I don't have too much science fiction. But again, Silver Age, 1950s. You saw the Comics Code Authority coming in. And now the Silver Age, they have to tone down a lot of the horror covers and stuff. And I mentioned that in the intro too. So you don't see decapitated heads. You don't see hangings and stuff. And, again, it wasn't until later on. So everybody's Comic Code Authority, following the rules until, certain people or created their own companies or whatever in the 60s, 70s, 80s. That didn't want to be part of this and didn't put Comic Code Authority, and you got back to some of that a little more graphic cover art. So I'm going to start talking with Marvel, Atlas. I don't think they were called Timely by this time. But Silver Age, there were Atlas and became Marvel. And I did a little quick search. There were actually over 25 titles during the Silver Age that Atlas/Marvel put out. And you're going to hear some of these titles and I'm like, hey, that's a superhero title. Actually, it started out as horror type of supernatural, with like these giant monsters and stuff. You see the pre-superhero Marvels, you always see them. You'll also see that a lot of them were reproduced in the 70s under new titles and stuff, and it says reprints and things. So just to give you an idea, heads up, I'm just going to name some titles that Marvel Atlas had put out relating to the genre, and before it became superhero, some of them. So Journey into Mystery, of course, became with Thor. But remember, Thor number 83. So there's 82 issues before that have nothing to do with superheroes. And Tales of Suspense, number 39, Iron Man. But what's 1 to 38, So again, the type of, I mentioned in the intro, I don't know, my head is bothering me. I'm like hot because I can't run the fan because I'm worried about the sound. So Tales of Suspense, Tales to Astonish. You had Ant-Man. 27, what does the first 26 issues have? Horror, supernatural type of things. Strange Tales, 110. Actually, it's 101 with the Human Torch. But 110, I always mention 110 because I love Doctor Strange. And what are the first 100 issues? Again, this type of genre, horror, supernatural, and things. And, if you listen to it, Marvel Tales. The original Marvel Tales had no superheroes. There's actually the one with Spider-Man that reprints things. That's actually volume 2. But I don't remember exactly how many. I think it was over 100 issues of Marvel Tales originally. And, again, the word Marvel, you're thinking it could be like a supernatural type of thing or something superhuman. I'm not going to necessarily say superhero. Then you have Amazing Adventures, which also might sound familiar with the title Amazing Adventures with the Beast and stuff from the 70s. Amazing adult fantasy. So again, think about this one. Amazing Adventures became Amazing Adult Fantasy, which became Amazing Fantasy 15. So the first 14 issues, again, really have nothing to do with superheroes. Though there might be some prototypes. Again, there we go. You'll see a few issues before the main characters. Once in a while, you'll see the word prototype of so-and-so, or he mentions Ben Riley. Ben Riley. Yeah, think of the Spider-Man. Ben Parker and Aunt May, Uncle Ben and Aunt May, without the word Parker. I know they had a prototype at one point. One title I didn't mention is Astonishing. And the reason why I didn't mention is because I actually have one. So here's Astonishing. I don't remember what number this is. I don't remember. I don't see it. But anyway, it's an issue. It's beat up. I have my little red price tag and $4, which means I might have paid $2. But again, when I bought a lot of this stuff, you're talking before 2004, so at least 15 to 25 years ago. Anytime you see these red price tags, that's like 15 to 25 years ago. When I used to go to the shows and hit up my one dealer friend, I have no more notes. So whatever's in my stack, and there might be other companies, which I'm not covering, but these are all books that are in my personal collection. And again, I mentioned this previously in other episodes. I only had so much money. I was buying video games. I was buying trading cards. I was buying action figures. Again, going out with your friends, go to the movies, whatever. And as you see behind me, there's no telescope this time. Somebody mentioned about the third part of the Golden Age. I had the telescope in the background. My wife had put it there, and I didn't even care. Again, I don't care. I got stacks and stacks and stacks of books, and it's only going to increase. I'm trying to move some stuff around, but anyway, so I'm starting with, I have one copy from this company called Ajax. It's called Strange. It is the third issue. It is from August 1957. And again, as I mentioned in the intro, Silver Age started in 56. And, you're going to see, I'm going to show you titles that either were before into the Golden Age and ran into the Silver Age, or maybe even either started in the Silver Age or just ran into the Bronze Age. So, and then again, where does horror stop? And that's, we'll get to that when we hit the Bronze Age, because there was a decent amount of Bronze Age stuff, but that's where it pretty much died. So I mentioned ACG in the intro, and I actually have a few different titles. And the problem with a lot of these books is that they ran, 100 issues or 80 issues, 150 issues. So if you have 6 titles, you might be buying 400 or 500 books if you're trying to collect it all. So, I'd like to collect it all, but I just don't have the money to collect it all. And again, if I see something I'm missing, I find it for, a few bucks, I buy it. And it doesn't have to be perfect shape. As long as it's complete. I mentioned that as like my little pet peeve. It has to be complete. And I don't like tears. I don't care for stains. Creases are fine. So we're going to start with Adventures into the Unknown from October 57. This is one of the copies. I just pulled one. I might have 10, I might have 15 of an issue. I'm just giving you one example of each title. Unknown Worlds. I remember one of these. I might have maybe two of a title, but I remember Unknown Worlds that has a witch in the cover. And it's weird because there's so many issues of these things, but sometimes I found some duplicates. I don't know why I have duplicates of certain issues. But this is from February of 61. Here's one you might not have heard of. It's called Midnight Mystery. I don't think this ran too many issues. This is number 7. This is from October of 61. And again, it's Midnight Mystery. I'm not using the term mystery because to me, mystery should be like murder and Sherlock Holmes and Charlie Chan and stuff. But it says astounding supernatural stories. There's the word supernatural. Amazing science fiction and strange secrets. So there's some giant robot hand smashing the airplane. So, what is that robot hand? You'd have to read it to find out. This title is called Gasp. It says, sorry, you've got the wrong ghosts. And you'll see a lot of ghost stuff too. This is from June, July from 1967. It's a later ACG. I don't even think ACG survived into the Bronze Age, so I think they just totally died off. Forbidden Worlds. This is number 58. It's from September of 1957. You know, and you look at some of these covers, the ACG covers, not necessarily that exciting. Oh, no, something's happened. I'm growing smaller. So and it says this, My Strange Godfather. And it has nothing to do with Mario Puzo. Okay, so that's like all the ACGs that I pulled out. There were probably some more titles. I might not even own any. I mentioned in the intro about Charlton. Charlton, I don't think they had too much in the way of Golden Age, but by the Silver Age and Bronze Age, forget it. They were putting out tons and tons of titles. Now, the quality of Charlton, and again, we talk about this, the quality of Charlton they didn't care about too much quality. So you'll see a lot of perforated or rigid edges and stuff, or the covers are misbound and things. So you know, you're going to see Charlton. You have to accept it for what it is. But you know, they came out with some cool stuff too. I got, again, some of these titles you may never have heard of. So I always say, if you want to collect something, you know, maybe do a search on the internet and, you know, say Charlton Horror or Charlton Science Fiction or something. And it should be, you should be able to find, especially with Wikipedia, you could find a list of things. Like I said, I used to go through that Gerber to look at Golden Age and just look at the pictures and see what kind of titles, like, oh, this looks like it's a cool cover. Maybe I'll try to collect this title and stuff. But Silver Age, you know, there was so much out there. Everybody started collecting comic books, the baby boomers and things. So this title is called Shadows Beyond, Spacious Rooms to Rent. And then I'm going to mention this, but it's sort of like a weird Twilight Zone type of thing, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. But Shadows Beyond, a title, probably didn't run too many issues. Strange Suspense Stories. This is number 65. So there's quite a few of these. I actually have several, I don't know, maybe 5-6 issues of this book, or this title. Number 65 from June of 63. This one I've heard of many times, Mysteries of Unexplored Worlds. This is number 44 from December of 64. And this is cool. It's like it says the marsh creatures. And you always wonder where certain characters came from. You know, you hear of Lucas coming up with things for Star Wars from certain science fiction movies and stuff he watched. But, you know, you got swamp creatures. So you think about a swamp thing or man thing or something. And did they get this idea from reading one of these stories? Another title that ran a lot of issues is called Unusual Tales. This is number 20, and this is January of 1960. And I love ghosts, so I can't pass up Ghostly Tales. And I think there's actually 2 different volumes for this. The second volume, I believe, didn't start at number 1. I don't know if I mentioned any of this, but they to go around the mail, the postal service, applying for new magazine titles or whatever, they used to just change the title number but continue to issue numbers, so they didn't have to refile. And so this is number 55. Somebody wrote 1966. That's not my writing. And again, this is war. It's Ghostly Tales, but if you look, you have a German soldier, your swastika. I was always laughing at that, the way it's said. On his arm is some ghost. Maybe it's an American soldier coming out of the grave or something. Oh no, I don't know. It says Bosch. Fool, Your bullets cannot harm me now. It says Ghostly Tales from the Haunted House. And again, I mentioned this other thing is you got this little character that's probably in every issue. And, he's like the crypt keeper or whatever from EC to give you a thing, introductions and talk about the story before it starts. I have one Harvey here. And I don't think Harvey put out too many horror comics. This is Alarming Tales. This is number 5. It's from September 58. So I'm doubting Harvey. I think they jumped into the cartoons and stuff big time and abandoned horror by like 1960. This is the one title I pulled 2 copies of. I think I might have showed you one of the Golden Age copies I had. It was Black Magic by Prize Comics. I don't know. This is volume 2, number 1, volume 7, number 1. I don't know. They have all these weird volumes. There's September, October, 1958, and of course you have dinosaurs, and it's another genre that people like to collect. Or it's a sea serpent dinosaur. It says Amazing Mysteries, but again, mystery as in supernatural, not I murdered you and Sherlock Holmes has to start investigating. And again, you see these red stickers, and this was priced at $15. And this is, like I said, probably like 18 to 20 years ago that I would have bought this. So Black Magic again. This is volume 8, number 3. It's July, August from 61. And as I mentioned in the Golden Age, you got, even though they're ghosts, they're pirates. So again, you have that cross collectability. Do I want to buy ghost horror? Do I want to buy pirates? So I'm going to move on to, I'm going to jump into Gold Key next. I'm almost done. And like I said, I want to try to keep these videos shorter so people can watch them and not complain that they have to watch them in 3 days or something. So you're going to see a lot of television now having an influence, but popularity of certain TV shows has now created a market for comic books, and you're going to see it on several different genres. So, but the horror itself, I'm going to start with Boris Karloff, Tales of Mystery, and if you ever watched it, I have. For these things that I'm showing you, I probably have at least 70% of the runs. So I probably have at least 70% of the Boris Karloff. And again, this ran into the Bronze Age. Whether or not I show you this in the Bronze Age is a different story. But, it's the classic sea serpent attacking the boat. This is number 3. I didn't write a date, but early issues. I grabbed like the earliest issue I could find. Ripley's Believe It or Not, True Ghost Stories. Eventually just became Ripley's Believe It or Not. This is number 1. You always love Ripley, it's like, oops, I'm tilting it the wrong way. But Ripley, you're familiar. He's been around a long time. Weird, eerie, authentic. The Mummy's Hand, The Flaming Scar, The Message from Beyond. So again, you think Ripley's Believe It or Not, if you remember the TV shows, sometimes it's just strange things, but a lot of times these stories, they want to try to get you. So they give you real stories, or supposedly real stories, but something with a ghostly horror, supernatural type of thing. And of course, as I mentioned before, the Twilight Zone. This is issue number 2. I don't think I have a number 1. Rod Serling. Again, I keep tilting this wrong. So Twilight Zone, it looks like the guy's there. Under the sidewalks of New York, a repairman finds a colony lost for 300 years. So you see, it looks like pilgrims there, though they got like muskets and stuff. So it's more like probably in the 1700s. Who knows? Anyway, so that's Gold Key. There's a lot of more Gold Key titles in the Bronze Age. So when I get to that, I'll cover them. I don't know if I'll show you more of those 3, but I'm going to finish with Dell. And again, I keep saying about Dell painted covers, the gold key to painted covers. It's really nice. So here's one of the titles straight up from Dell. It's called Ghost Stories. And again, I'm missing a few. I don't have a number one because this is a number two. And, you got the cool ghost. It looks like he's wearing a sheet. Almost looks like Moon Knight. This is from June or April, June. There's like a 2-3 month thing. April to June 1963. I pulled that out. Other stuff that I pulled out, I thought it was pretty cool. Edgar Allan Poe. And this is cool. Mask of the Red Death. I pulled this out because, Poe has always been known. But you got a Vincent Price photo cover, which is even better. So, if you read the book or listened to the audio book, A Mask of the Red Death, it's always something supernatural with things. So I just pulled this out because I thought it was pretty cool, and with the photo cover of Vincent Price. This one I think is a one-shot. It's called Tales from the Tomb. I didn't write down the year, but it's a Dell Giant. And again, I don't know if this possibly had more than one printing. Some of the Dells you'll see had more than one printing, because when I get to this, I decided to show, this is how I'm going to finish, I have 3, Universal Studios monsters. So I got Dracula. And like I said, I think there's more than one printings on some of these. So if you look in the Overstreet to make sure which printing you have. I don't know why everything's tilted. Maybe I'm tilted. So I have Dracula. And then I have Dracula. It says Universal Pictures presents Dracula, the Mummy, plus other stories. And this is another Dell Giant. So there's Dracula, there's Mummy. I don't know what else is in there. I haven't opened it up. But it's probably the big 2. When they say other stories, they probably have non things. So I'm going to finish up with, of course, another. And this might be a second print. It is second printing. It actually says second print. The Wolfman. So where the price is, it actually says second printing. I knew I had there were different printings from Dell. So I know there's Frankenstein. I believe there's Frankenstein. There's probably the Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon. So other Universal Studios. So horror, mystery, supernatural, whatever you want to call it. Investment-wise, titles like that, of course, the popularity of certain characters over the years are going to hold. So if you can find, I would say buy high-grade copies. There's lots of Dell, there's lots of Gold Key. First issues, because something like Twilight Zone, you're not going to have a first appearance of something. Or Boris Karloff, it's not going to. So you want the earliest issues, and you want them in high grade. But characters, Wolfman, I think any of the horror titles, you're not going to have any specific one issue unless it's done by a specific artist or it has a specific type of cover, which, like I said, they toned down by the Silver Age because of the Comic Code Authority. You're not going to have a decapitated head cover or hanging cover or eye injury cover or whatever. So, unless it's a specific type of genre, maybe it's the dinosaurs cover or something like that. For the most part, you're going to want the earliest issues or possibly even the latest issues. As we always say, when a title starts dying, usually the latest issues in the series, the last, last issue, last couple of issues, last few issues, have a lower print run. And so those issues themselves might be worth more. But, again, it's up to you. Do your homework, as I always say. Look at, the different titles that are available. There's so much information on the internet that it's easier to track down. Back when I started collecting in the 80s, and I said it, there was no internet. I went through the Overstreet. Even Gerber's photo journal didn't exist at the time I started collecting. So, it's either you see it in a store or you might see an ad in, like, say, the Comic Buyer's Guide newspaper or something. Or you just look up titles in the Overstreet, and again, you don't know what they look like. You see what they're saying, but sometimes those some of these books might have had like Jungle or something, because they changed the title names, or maybe they became horror, but they didn't change the name. So, um, you know, horror to me is more of a collecting thing. I don't know investment wise. I only, like I said, early issues, maybe late issues, and certain covers that has a theme or characters like Universal Monsters and stuff. So anyway, that's going to be the end of the horror. So again, subscribe, like, share. I always say, tell your friends and family. Word of mouth to me is the most important thing. And hopefully you enjoyed what I brought to you and showed you. And catch in part 2, which is going to be superhero. And I plan on recording that next week, probably along with other things. Because superhero is so involved, I'm going to have to dig out a lot of things. And again, just show you one example of each thing, because I could be there all day just with like one character. So anyway, see you next time. So I must have been out of it last week when I recorded this entire video prior to me ending, because I forgot DC. I don't know why I didn't even think about DC horror. I don't think there's too much. I couldn't find. I was looking just now. But the main titles, House of Mystery, House of Secrets, those are the two. I thought I had at least one copy of each. Those are actually titles I don't collect. I also thought about Strange Adventures. I don't know if that's quite horror, but again, supernatural and stuff. The one title I do collect, and I have like probably at least 75%, 80% of the run. Is The Unexpected, Tales of the Unexpected. So I just I pulled a few out. This is actually the first book I have in my collection. Is number 17. I have nothing earlier. Number 1's really expensive. Again, it started out as more science fiction. I'm trying to get a better angle. Yeah. Anyway, notice it's like a person wearing space helmets and stuff. Meeting other people with space helmets. But for quite a while, they had, what do you call it, Space Ranger in him. And I found a couple of extra copies I had with Space Ranger. There's one here, and there's one there. And I wanted to show you just one example where it started getting into the horror. This is a nice high-grade copy, 104. Notice the red tag again. I bought this, and I keep tilting it the wrong way. And I think it says VF, but it also has a $30 price tag. And again, I never paid that kind of prices. So sorry, I forgot DC. So go back to the share, like, subscribe, and I always say tell your family, friends, and we'll see you in part 2.